It looks like oil prices are on a rebound, a big rebound, and that obviously helps Alberta. Not so much necessarily consumers given gas prices, but what's your take on the situation?
Well, let me add behind the bottom end of your question is what did everybody expect? If you cut investment in a field, if everybody's divesting themselves, banks say we're not going to lend you money for any oil and gas exploration or development. Guess what, kids? If you've taken economics 101, when you cut supply, and even if demand stays the same, the price is going up.
Right.
But in actual fact, the demand is also going up. So I think if anybody had taken an early economics course, they would have spotted this a mile off. Now, for us, part of my job is betting against government, which is generally a pretty good bet. And so we own quite a bit of the Canadian energy sector, and it's been a very big winner for us over this year. But make no mistake, energy prices percolate through everything. As Jimmy Hoffa said, everything comes in a truck. So that's part of your costs.
Yeah, and so obviously, and we've had this problem with the borders now. The Trudeau government is not making it easy for unvaccinated truckers to get into the country. So what do you think the knockdown effect of that is going to be?
Well, that's definitely inflationary and scarcity. I was in a grocery store, and I don't go to grocery stores very often. I'm not trusted there because I buy all the stuff I like. But I was in the grocery store recently, and there were lots of empty shelves, stuff that I was looking. I had my little list my wife gave me. So my point is, we're starting to enter into scarcity. I think the plan of demanding, vaccinations coming in is nonsense. It's just political. Let's look as if we're doing something. But I think it is damaging. I think it's hurtful. It's inflationary, and it'll also add this product scarcity.
Yeah, I know, and certainly we'll be watching that throughout 2022 as well. Any other bright spots in the economy that you're tracking right now?
Well, I kind of give the nod a little bit more to the U.S. market than the Canadian market. And yes, they've got all kinds of fractional insanity going on, and we have too. This woke stuff and all these other things that are happening in our societies. But sometimes that group tends to overshoot. And I think in the United States, there's a greater realization they've got to move to whatever a normal is going to look like. I think you're going to see the parties in the States, both of them move more to the center. And we'll see what happens in the 2022 election. In the meantime, you have a very strong, vibrant economy, diverse, innovative, increasing dividends, share buybacks. So in actual fact, the real world economy is doing quite well in the United States. And stock prices seem to be coming back a tiny bit, but they're going to, because of a lot of insanely valued high-tech stocks. But by and large, the economy there is doing reasonably well. We have a few unique problems in Canada. The energy sector, which is our big foreign exchange earner, and that's why our dollar is so strong. We're a petrocurrency. But I worry about autos. I mean, you drive by auto lots, and there are very few cars on them. There's no supply there. And so if we're not selling them here and they're not selling them in the States, that could be problematic for us. So our economy is a little bit more fragile, not quite as diverse as the U.S. And I don't think our governments have really thought about that in terms of strategy for some time.
Right. Yeah. And of course, we don't have a very diversified economy when it comes to our trading partners either, right?
Well, absolutely not. I mean, first off, we have to recognize a few absolutes. Number one, America is not our pal. Number two, they're our toughest competitor. Number three, they play dirty. And number four, look at what they're doing in softwood lumber all over again, and autos and everything else. And number four, no amount of hugging is going to make any difference in that.
Right.
We have to start acting like adults.
Yeah, and do you sense that the Canadian government is getting that message, though? We seem to be stuck in old style sort of politics, right?
I think it's the old thing of just spend. Let's see if we can buy some votes, buy some special interest groups, even if it costs $40 billion. Let's see what we can do to buy votes. I haven't seen any constructive, big picture, strategic, how are we going to build the country? How are we going to create jobs? How are we going to foster innovation? There's no policies in place to nurture that. Yeah. Governments don't create wealth, but they can create the conditions for creating wealth, or they can do the opposite. And right now, you said it correctly. They're stuck in old-fashioned thinking, but I don't think there's any thinking. I think it's an isolationist government, even from its own MPs.